We all know the feeling of needing to manage and provision resources in a growing, seemingly never ending list of services. It can be absolutely overwhelming. Whether you are managing your IaaS, your PaaS, your SaaS, your BaaS, your DaaS, your FaaS, your NAS, your MAS, it just goes on and on. And it seems like companies that we work for and that we love continue adding more and more under our responsibilities. And we need to provision all these. We need to manage who gets access to them. We need to make sure the resources stay up and performant. And it can be absolutely mind-blowingly overwhelming. Well, I'm here today to tell you that your database, your data platform, does not need to be part of the factors that keep you up late at night worrying about this never-ending growing list of resources. First of all, my name is Ben and I'm a senior developer advocate at Couchbase. I would love to continue this conversation throughout all of the ways you can find me on the web. I can find on Twitter, on GitHub, on LinkedIn, on Blue Sky, on my website. Please find and reach out to me and let's continue this conversation, how we can further reduce the complexity and increase the joy in your life by automating away the things you shouldn't have to worry about. Now, we're talking about this in the context of our database and our data platform. I want us to center that conversation on Terraform. Many of you are familiar with Terraform. For those of you who are not, Terraform is a leading tool that helps you treat your infrastructure as code, i.e., IAC, infrastructure as code. Infrastructure as code is essentially a methodology that allows you to treat and manage your resources the way you would manage your code, i.e., it becomes version controlled, it becomes scalable, reproducible, testable, and all of that allows you to create your infrastructure resources, to provision your resources, to manage your resources with declarative syntax. Now, with Terraform, you can also, just like you're using Terraform to manage your Kubernetes clusters and your Docker containers and your authorization services and so much more, you can also use Terraform to manage your databases. And that's, my friends, what we're going to talk about as we follow that yellow brick road, taking us away from the pain of a growing list of SaaSes into the bliss and the pleasure of declarative syntax and automation. I, first of all, want to introduce you, if you're not familiar yet, with what Couchbase Capella is. You may know Couchbase as a NoSQL database provider that you can manage on your own, on-prem or on bare metal. You can use Kubernetes, you can deploy it in any way you want. Couchbase Capella is our managed database as a service. It's a fully managed database with enterprise-grade performance, high availability. We have ability to have mobile and IoT app sync and embeddable database in device, and it provides you a single pane of glass for all of your data platform needs with automated scaling. It understands your demand, automated scaling in and out and up and down. And the way this helps you is in tremendous ways. Right now, you probably are managing an architecture, an infrastructure that has supporting all sorts of services and spreading your data across all of those services in order to manage key aspects of your data infrastructure. Perhaps you have a service for your caching. Of course, your NoSQL databases and your relational databases. You're managing your geo-replication tools and your FTS, your full text search, and your eventing and your analytics, and of course, your mobile and app sync gateway, and all of those things may be being managed by different providers that you need to coordinate and make sure they all stay in sync together. With Capella, much of that becomes gathered under one roof, under one hood. And suddenly your data sprawl, well, it becomes a lot less sprawly, a lot less diffused, and it becomes a lot more centralized for you to have a much clearer, a much more succinct pane of glass that lets you see it all in one place, manage it all in one place, your eventing, your analytics, your in-memory cache, your full text search, your vector search, your geo-replication, and all of that. And we support all the three major cloud providers, in addition to, of course, using our traditional Couchbase server where you could deploy it on your own. Now that's Couchbase Capella. With Couchbase Capella and Terraform, you can provision Couchbase Capella resources, databases, clusters, buckets. You can provision your management API in the sense of who gets access to what and what they can do, read, write privileges, all of that, using the declarative syntax of Terraform. I want to show you how that works. So in the next couple minutes, let's walk through an actual example of how and what this looks like. So the way this looks like, and you're seeing three screens here. Yes, three screens at once. In the middle is the Couchbase Capella UI. And what we're first going to do is we're going to log on to that UI. On the left-hand side is Visual Studio Code, and the right-hand side is a terminal. When we log onto the UI, we first see all of our operational clusters that we have access to. This is my live data, but don't worry, nothing super confidential. And we want to create an API key that we're going to use in our Terraform configuration to access all of the functionality of our Couchbase Capella management API. And once we do that, what we want to do, what we're going to do in this demo is we're going to take an example cluster and we are essentially going to add a new bucket to it. What is a bucket in Couchbase is essentially a table in a more relational database context. So now that we know what we want to do, we're going to turn over to our left-hand side of our screen, and we're going to start managing that and building that with Terraform. We have an open source Terraform provider registered on the Terraform registry. You can browse it, you can look at the code itself, you can see any open issues, you can raise an issue if something's not working. We build these sorts of services in the open so that we know that you and us, we're both partners in this. We want to build this with you. And the Terraform provider wraps over all of our management APIs. So anything you can do with our RESTful API, you can do with the Terraform provider using the declarative syntax of Terraform. And what we're going to focus in on, as we mentioned, in this couple minutes together, is we're going to simply add, through Terraform, a new bucket inside of our cluster. And we do that by defining our variables, by defining our connection string to our Couchbase Capella cluster, and defining our access credentials. Once we've done that and we say what the name of the bucket is, and we make sure we've defined the values of those variables, namely our connection string, our API access credentials, etc., we can then of course run the plan in Terraform CLI and see what will be executed. In this case, we see that we're going to create a new bucket, which is beautiful. Once we see the plan looks good, we can go ahead and we can actually execute that plan using the syntax of Terraform that we may or may not be familiar with, but is pretty intuitive. It tells us, you sure you want to do this? And we said, yes, we want to do that. And once we've done that, it takes in a matter of seconds. We create the new bucket, and when we refresh our Capella UI, what we will see on the side with our bucket listings is now our new bucket. Now, this, my friends, is a relatively simple example, pretty straightforward, not too complex, but it doesn't take much imagination to understand that this example can be magnified to accomplish all of the complexity that you may need to accomplish when you are building your data platform and provisioning the resources and access, and programmatically with the declarative syntax of Terraform, getting everything done that you need to get done. Now, if you're curious in following more about this, I encourage you to follow that link to that GitHub repo, and you can look at the code for this example, get a sense of the flow of how it works, understand what's happening under the hood, and of course, there's a README that you can follow step by step to replicate this. Now, you may be wondering, well, how do I replicate this? I don't have a Couchbase Capella account. Well, I'm here to help you. That's right, Ben's here to help you, because Couchbase Capella has a free forever tier, which means you can sign up for Capella, our managed database as a service, get access to this, be able to build out this example forever, never needing to provide a credit card. You can experiment, iterate, see if it works for you, and see how you can grow and expand upon this relatively simple example. I want to thank you for your time. I hope that helped alleviate a little bit the question of, oh my gosh, I'm getting added a new service that I need to manage, a new part of my infrastructure. How can I do that? Well, with the help of IAC tools like Terraform and its compatibility with Couchbase Capella using the Couchbase Terraform provider, you can manage your data platform without adding more and increasing the headache of managing all of your services. If you're curious, you can find me online to ask more questions or continue this conversation. Thanks so much for your time.